But I also hate that for Drake. And I hate how the world turns on him. And simultaneously, I'm over here like, man, I hope Iceman. Yo, I was like hurt, almost disappointed, like, cause I got so much respect for you, you know what I mean? And I look at you like I know you are as a stand-up person. When a lawsuit come out, I'm like,
all right, it's looking like your boy JCole finally did that Cameron interview he promised to do a while ago, all right? And they talked about a few things and some clips. Of course, they talked about this lawsuit where Cam was suing JCole, but they also talked about this. Cameron asked JCole about how he felt when the Kendrick and Drake situation was going. Now, we heard JCole talk about the apology, but we didn't hear nothing like this. Check this out.
Do you think that the Drake and Kendrick thing got totally out of hand? Do you think it spiraled out of control?
The world, right away, the world became like politics. You're either Democrat or Republican. You're either Kendrick or you Drake. And you gotta pick a side, boom, boom. And I felt like the nigga that was like disgusted both ways.
Do you think that the Drake and Kendrick thing got totally out of hand? Do you think it spiraled out of control?
The world, right away, the world became like politics. You're either Democrat or Republican. You're either Kendrick or you Drake. And you gotta pick a side, boom, boom. And I felt like the nigga that was like disgusted both ways damn near. You know what I mean? So when you say, did it get out of hand? It's like, creatively, that's not my place to say. But I think the out of hand that I think is like, to me, is like disgusting how people try to use that opportunity, either show how they really felt about Drake the whole time, or just like pile on
that's a fact.
And tear this dude down and like create a narrative as if he's not great. It was a whole campaign and probably still is to this day. So on one hand, it's like, yo, I feel weird and they're gonna make headlines out of this. Just like when I see Kendrick get the moment he had, the pop out, the stadium, the Super Bowl,
the Grammys.
I'm like, I'm just as proud of this nigga as I was when I knew him back then. But I also hate that for Drake. And I hate how the world turns on him. And simultaneously, I'm over here like, man, I hope Iceman go crazy.
All right, now I'm gonna tell y'all something. Even though you clearly heard JCole say, I'm happy for both of them. You know, I feel bad for Drake, but I'm glad Kendrick got that moment. I'm telling you, them Kendrick Lamar fans, they not gonna hear nothing but JCole was defending Drake. They not gonna hear the part where he was talking about, hey, I'm proud of him. It reminds me when I first met him back in the day. I'm glad to see his success. They feel like if you say anything positive about Drake, you're automatically going against Kendrick. And so I already know a lot of people, they gonna be calling JCole a D-Rider. Well, look, a lot of people still mad about the apology. Let's just call it what it is. But also, here's another thing. Remember, we've been hearing that JCole and Drake was having some issues. Do y'all remember Maul from the Rory and Maul podcast? He was crying about how JCole hasn't talked to Drake since the beef.
On this album, he better address why he did what he did.
Okay.
He better address why he did what he did.
Did a bit on Port. Even if you disagree with what he said, he did.
On this album, he better explain why he did what he did. He better explain why he had that conversation with Kendrick.
Okay.
And then never spoke to Drake after that again in his life. He has to explain that.
All right, now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Maul is preaching the gospel, but if we are to believe what he said is true, I would hope if JCole is doing this interview that him and Drake have had a conversation and squashed whatever back and forth they had. Also, Maul said JCole had a conversation with Kendrick. Now, I would assume that was the case if JCole is on stage apologizing, but it almost seems like Maul was trying to say maybe JCole and Kendrick was in cahoots. Maybe Kendrick gave JCole a phone call and was like, hey, stand down. This just between, me and him. Then, even when JCole was talking about this situation, and obviously it's a short clip, they're going to talk about it more when the interview comes out tomorrow. You see, JCole never talks about his part in that beef. He ain't say nothing about the apology. He ain't say nothing about when he was getting at Kendrick. It's almost like he kept himself out of the situation. But if I know Cameron, I know he asked him about that apology. And I know he asked him about when he was getting at Kendrick. So that's a little tidbit we gonna have to wait till tomorrow to see. But at the same time, like I said, I would assume and hope if JCole is defending Drake like this, they had a conversation and they're cool if what Maul said is true, okay? And by the way, he was bigging up Iceman at the end of that clip. And I know Iceman has been surrounded by so much secrecy, but you never know. We might get a JCole feature. Even though I kind of doubt it because, you know, Drake is acting like, you know, they were so cold to me during the Kendrick beef. You know, I had to turn into Iceman. I ain't got no friends. I'm cold to it all. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, the main thing a lot of people wanted to hear about is this whole lawsuit situation between Cameron and JCole. And we also got a clip from that. Check this out.
Let's get the elephant out the room. So when you first seen the lawsuit, what was your emotion when you see it?
Yo, I was like hurt almost, disappointed, like, cause I got so much respect for you, you know what I mean? And I look at you like I know you are as a stand-up person. When the lawsuit come out, I'm like, come on, Cam. Right. And only because it was like, in my mind, I'm like, bro, right, you really could have hit me. Like, although it was taking a long time, I don't give a fuck if you would have called me and been like, yo, nigga, what the like you could have scraped on me, we could have argued, boom, boom. I would have preferred that than the other way, cause I was just like, damn, Cam, like it never got to that point where you couldn't like holler at me or whatever. Right. So my first thing was disappointment. And my first thought was like, fuck it then. Like this nigga ain't even know I was still gonna come to his show. Right. Like, my first gut reaction, like, damn, and it's like misinformation, the lawsuit itself, and you know, the internet running with it. People hit me like, yo, what's going on with the Cam shit? Boom, boom. So like my ego reaction is like, all right. Quietly, I'm like, man, fuck this nigga, boom, boom. Right. But quickly, I'm like, but nah. Like, I get it though. Let me put myself in his shoes. Like, yo, the nigga feel like he was getting a runaround. Right. You know what I mean? He don't know you for real. And Cam Mind is probably like, I seen this movie before. Right. You don't fuck with me. You don't want to do the favor. You trying to drag me out until I don't want to do it no more. Right. All right, nigga, bet. And I got one in the chamber. Right. I never signed that paperwork for that fucking, for that verse. So here you go, boom, just to like hit me in the rib. You know what I mean? And it's like, I still said in my mind, I was like, yo, I'ma still go see Cam.
And which, of course, it was never gonna go nowhere, but for me, it was more like, I need to get this nigga attention.
All right, now a few things. I don't think JCole wanted to do this interview. I do think he felt like it might have been a good opportunity. He just dropped the album. It's good publicity. Also, maybe it's a good opportunity for us to hear something from JCole. And if I'm not mistaken, he just did an interview a couple of days ago too. So he's in interview mode. He's doing the press run. Also, if you notice, he gave that other person an interview before Cam, which I also think might have been on purpose, because it's like, okay, I'll do your show if I'm forced to do it with this lawsuit, but I'm not gonna give you the exclusive. And that's something that's a big thing in this industry. People want the exclusive. People want to be the first one you talk to. People want to be, you know, the person to put it out first. They want to get the most views and the most publicity off of these celebrity interviews. And so we put that off to the side. Maybe JCole did it on purpose. Maybe it was just a scheduling issue and he had to go to this person first, but whatever, he's here. When I'm listening to JCole talk though, I think to myself, on one hand, maybe he is this happy-go-lucky guy. But see, this is why I played that Kendrick and Drake thing first, because you see, he's not going to take one side. He always wants to be the guy, I'm cool with everybody. And I feel like that was his answer with this. It's like, oh yeah, I was a little disappointed, but I could see where you coming from. And like he seems like he's fumbling. It's like when he was on stage apologizing to Kendrick. I just want to hear JCole say, hey, Cam, that was some fake shit you did. I ain't F with it. I don't know if I'm going to ever get over it. I'm here to do the interview, but I feel like that was some sucker shit. Like I want to hear JCole talk like that. I want to hear JCole just not always sound like this, like, you know, monk, I'm trying to be nice to everybody. I don't want to be controversial. I get it. You got the dreads. You like to ride bikes around New York. You don't like to wear nice clothes. You want to dress like a homeless person. All that's cool. But I feel like we never get to hear from the real J. Cole. And hell, that might be a critique on his music. Because if you can't do an interview and just be honest for a change, how can I believe that you always giving all of yourself in the music? And I know that might be a harsh take. Maybe everybody is not for the media or whatever, but regardless, I just want to see J. Cole crash out for once. Maybe I'm just being toxic, okay? Also, at the end of that clip, you hear Cameron saying, I was just trying to get his attention. So Cameron is basically saying the lawsuit was never going to go anywhere. I just wanted to make sure you was going to fulfill your end of the bargain. If y'all remember, Cameron did a song for J. Cole. He did a verse. And in return, he wanted J. Cole to come on his show. And so maybe the lawsuit was just Cam's way of saying, hey, bro, don't forget, you've been dodging calls. I haven't talked to you. You still got to come do this interview. And that's kind of the energy I feel around this interview, where it's like, I really don't want to do this, but since you gonna file paperwork, I'll come and do it. Also, peep this out. And a lot of y'all gotta notice the little small stuff. J. Cole said it never got to a point where you couldn't speak to me. And then Cameron just agreed with that. Cameron didn't interject and say, nah, bro, it was hard for me to get in touch with you. I felt like we couldn't speak. He just flat out agreed with it. So we'll see if Cameron does say something like that on the interview tomorrow, basically confirming that it was very hard to get in contact with J. Cole. I can see Cameron just playing the industry thing since J. Cole is already there doing the interview, and he'll say, well, you know, bro, I get it. You was probably recording the album. You was in album mode or something like that, but I wasn't hearing from you. Because that's what people do when it's like, I'm going to give you an excuse, even though I'm a little upset that you wasn't hitting me back, but I'm going to just give you an out and say, yeah, you was working on the album or something like that. I feel like Cam might do the little industry thing because, like I said, he got J. Cole there for the interview. You gonna make your money. And regardless if J. Cole did an interview previously to this, I know Cameron is going to bring a different type of sauce and it's going to bring a different type of audience. And also, I think people like to see individuals like J. Cole sit down with people like a Cameron or a Joe Budden, people who we feel like are really a part of the culture, okay? Hey, nigga, donate. Hit the super chat, scan the PayPal, hit the Cash App. Thank you. Have a blessed day. So we'll see what more comes out in the interview tomorrow with J. Cole and Cam. But y'all tell me what y'all thought about this, man. Do y'all think J. Cole was defending Drake a little too much? Y'all feel like he was meat riding Drake? Do y'all want to see J. Cole get into his toxic bag? Not always giving the politically correct answer, the answer that's gonna be cool for everybody so nobody can be mad at him. Do y'all agree with that take from me? Let me know in the comments, man. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.